Jimmy, what are our buzzer options this week?
2 weeks ago, I called Murray and Casper, and I told Casper.
All right, not exactly. That's such an embarrassing come down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very good. Harmony.
Ron Soto update.
Okay, not, Juan Soto.
Last one.
This is the type of guy, if he's in a pile, he's squeezing your hog. I don't even know who I was talking about.
Yeah, it could be a lot of people, you know. All right, hit it.
This is the type of guy, if he's in a pile, he's squeezing your hog.
Number 10 is the Chiefs' run, Greg, of one possession last-minute wins, a sustainable model all the way to the championship.
I think it's sustainable because this is what playoff games are. They're one-possession games. They know how to win, probably better than anybody in the league. But I think in the end, their defense is gonna let them down. I think they really missed L'Jarius Sneed as sort of the second cornerback on that team, and that made the pressure in that whole defense go. And they're just too light in the secondary to make a really deep run again.
Sustainable, yes. With that quarterback and that defense, yeah. Yeah, if you let them hang around in a one-score game, you're in trouble.
Yeah, for most teams, no. For the Chiefs, yes, and it's not going to matter. Because if it's a tight dogfight game, they've proven. They know how to win those games. Mahomes and the rest of that team have ice in their veins. It's not going to matter.
This is going to catch up to them. Unless if they improve and start, separating themselves from some teams, then they can obviously win it all. But the thing about the cranking it off the upright at the buzzer, that thing's going to come to an end at some point. Next.
Ron Soto update.
Okay, Juan. Greg, are the Bills not to be taken seriously after their loss in Los Angeles?
I'm taking them seriously just because of Josh Allen and what he can do and how he's a freak of nature. But my money's on them choking again because this is what they do, including the head coach.
You should take them seriously. The quarterback's insane. Insane.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're the Bills. I'll never take them seriously. They exist to fail and for me and others to laugh at their failures.
Next.
2 weeks ago, I called Murray and Casper, and I told Casper.
Is it Penix time in Atlanta, Greg?
Yes. Kirk Cousins is done. I mean, he has, 0 touchdowns and 8 interceptions over the last 4 weeks. Are they just going to let their season just go away that way? No, they have to go to Penix. They have to try something different.
Penix time. Raging Penix.
Yes, only if they think he's ready to play. I do find it curious that he hasn't got a shot here in these last couple of weeks when it's clear that Kirk Cousins is cooked.
So I'm with you. It is absolutely time for Michael Penix down there in Atlanta. I think he and Nix, I guess, were the most ready guys coming into the draft, right? That was and Dan, whatever. He was one of those guys, 6-year college guy. He was ready to play. So I don't want to hear this thing about, listen, he's really stinking it up internally. They should be going to Michael Penix. Next. That's such an embarrassing come down.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you were the Vikings, Greg, would you re-sign Sam Darnold? Would you franchise him to trade him? Let him go? What would you do? Again, you got J.J. McCarthy coming off the bench.
I'm going to assume that from everything we heard, they loved J.J. McCarthy before he got hurt. So I'm going forward with him. I am tagging Sam Darnold, and I am trading him.
I'm keeping Darnold. There's no guarantee on McCarthy.
Okay, so how do you do it?
I'd sign him if you could. If you can't, franchise him.
So what kind of contract you give him?
A big one.
No,
I'm not paying him like I'm paying Mahomes.
Well, he's going to ask for a top 10 salary.
Okay, so tell me what a top 10. Give me the 10th guy.
30, 40 million a year.
I would give him between 30 and 40. I'd give him a Baker Mayfield deal. Yeah,
You would?
I would. Yeah.
I'm trading him. I'm selling him. I'm trading him off to a dumb quarterback horny team that thinks what they've seen this year is sustainable. Titans, Raiders, Giants, Saints, maybe even the Browns that could all be looking to improve at that position, and you can get a haul from one of those teams.
You don't think Darnold with a good coach, good surrounding cast is a good quarterback?
He's fine. What you're seeing this year is kind of fake. It's more about the coach and the scheme.
So
sell high.
It's nothing else like that exists out there?
Goff, but whatever. They're not going to win the Super Bowl.
No. What I mean is, and why are you getting so angry again?
Because this is you, and this is the you, and you're like, I'm going to force it down your throat to like mediocre quarterbacks. It's why I exist.
Forcing it down your throat. We're flushing it out. If he went to L.A. and was coached by Sean McVay and is surrounded by Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp,
yeah,
what do you think?
Sure, 10 wins, maybe a playoff win.
Oh, that would work.
Don't you think?
Yeah, or San Francisco.
Be a good spot for him.
Yes.
He was in San Francisco.
Okay, but again, they didn't give him a chance.
I think he was decent there. In fact, I don't think he played poorly.
Purdy got in there, right?
I'm sorry?
Did he precede Purdy?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, he did?
I think so. I'll go back and look it up. But
Okay.
I thought that Darnold was actually better than people would give him credit for when
With
he
a
was
good coach and a team around him, he can play.
I guess, Murray, I'm trying to get you to just lighten up a little bit.
I'm not going to lighten up about the Hoyer effect that you try to shove down my throat ever since I've worked here. Mediocre quarterback, Jim. You need to accept it. Here, eat it up. Take it. 10 wins. No matter what you think, your standard's too high for quarterbacks. Take the suck. Suck on it, Jim. No, I've had it. No.
So
we're trading him. We're getting a haul from a stupid team that thinks what they've seen this year is good.
Okay, so I misspoke about. I don't know why I thought he only started one game. He lost it. He did throw a couple touchdowns, complete 61% of his passes. He didn't play poorly in the game, but he did lose it. But anyway, next question.
This is the type of guy, if he's in a pile, he's squeezing your hog.
Tool bag question. In Philadelphia, defensive end Brandon Graham has had to roll back comments he made on his radio show recently, saying that personal stuff has gotten between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, and that they were friends before, but now, quote, things have changed, end quote. There's always a crap ton of drama with that team. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm having trouble identifying just who the tool bag is in the whole operation and what's the root of it. So that's the tool bag question. Why is there so much drama on that Eagles team?
I don't know why there is. There always is. But in this situation, I thought Brandon Graham was being a little bit of a tool bag for revealing this while the Eagles are on a winning streak and they're winning. Like if they go down in the toilet like they did last year, or they lose in the first round, like have at it. But both those guys, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, there's always been rumblings about them being some issues behind the scenes. Like last year was like Hurts and the coach didn't get along. A.J. Brown's mouthed off at certain times. That they're all a bunch of tool bags.
This whole thing started with A.J. Brown. They asked him after the game, what's wrong with the passing game? And he said, passing. It started with A.J. Brown.
That's a good answer.
But
This one's on him.
It really starts with the coach, because this was an issue last year. There was some sort of thing going on between Brown and Hurts, and the coach is a douche, and his douchiness, I think, trickles down. He hasn't been able to solve this issue. It starts with Nick Sirianni.
I think it's Hurts. I think there's something off with Hurts. There's always a drama. There's always I don't follow it closely enough to really flush this out for you.
He's the common denominator.
But I feel like he's the common denominator in a lot of stuff, wasn't he? You mentioned him and Sirianni. Mm-hmm. Him and the receiver, him and the coach. I see him on the bench, and he's like, I don't know, is he really like interactive with his teammates and engaged with his, I don't know, there's something up with Jalen Hurts, and I don't know exactly what it is. He might be the tool bag. Next.
Ron Soto update.
One.
I think you missed one.
Yeah, the Darnold destination.
Oh, my fault. Back to Sam Darnold, Murray, your guy.
Okay.
If you're Sam Darnold, Greg, what would be your first choice as a destination?
I guess none of them are good. Cleveland, I guess. I would be okay with as long as Stefanski is there.
Minnesota.
So I jumped ahead. I answered my own question, but Minnesota. Okay.
Yeah, I would stay where I am.
To stay in Minnesota, and then one day he clubs J.J. McCarthy's knee a la Nancy Kerrigan so he can keep the job. He has played well there. It's a good fit for him.
I think with a good, he's a guy that's not going to elevate, I don't think, but in a good spot. So, I think the Rams.
It's going to be complicated because didn't you hear McCarthy needed a second knee surgery?
Is that right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
he had to go into the knife again.
What I would do with him, I would franchise him. Okay, to sign him to a contract, Mazz, is going to be complicated.
Sure.
If he becomes a free agent, he can expect some team to, 4 years, $150 million. He's going to get one of those contracts. He just is. He's one of the highest rated quarterbacks in the league this year. He's going to get MVP votes maybe. So he's not going to settle for a Baker Mayfield contract. So the only way to avoid that is to franchise him. And so you pay through the nose for a year. If McCarthy's ready, he is. Then maybe you can trade him. You may keep them both if you're smart and not cheap. And I franchise them. That's what I do. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go back in order now. Next.
2 weeks ago, I called Murray and Casper, and I told Casper.
It's a G. G is in George. Fill in the blank. The Dallas Cowboys losing to Cincy last night on the basis of a punt team member not knowing the rules on a blocked punt is
a total Cowboys thing. It reminds me of Romo dropping the extra point snap and losing a playoff game. But also not a good sign for McCarthy because it reminded me of the Seattle playoff game.
The onside
kick where the guy wasn't supposed to catch the ball. He was supposed to let it go to Jordy
Remember
Nelson.
his name?
No.
Bostic. John Bostic. That's a name. I'm not going names. That's one I remember. Go ahead.
That's
Perfect. No, it's perfect. It's exactly what you'd expect. Dallas screwing up a detail and blowing the game. Absolutely.
It's what you get with a Mike McCarthy coach team. He's stupid. They're stupid.
Next.
This is the type of guy, if he's in a pile, he's squeezing your hog.
And his name wasn't John Bostic, so I am that bad with name. I'm going to go back and find it to make sure I got it right. All right, this one. You got the Cardinals this week, right?
Yep.
Where does Kyler Murray rank on your NFL quarterback power rankings? I don't need you to go list 1 through 15, but tell me about where he ranks. And for context, give me like a couple of guys in his range you have just ahead of him and a couple of guys you would have just behind him.
I would say he's somewhere around like 12 to 15 for me. I would have Tua just above him.
Good.
Geno just above him. And then like Lawrence and Carr like behind him. That sort of thing.
He's bottom 10. He's in the same group as Derek Carr.
Bottom 10.
Bottom 10.
Bottom 10.
Bottom 10. Did I stutter? Bottom 10.
Sometimes you misspeak.
He sucks. Kyler Murray's a loser.
You know he's 5th in QBR.
Yeah,
this
I don't care. Big deal. QBR means he can run. That's what that means. Does he win? Does he win? Ever.
He hasn't.
Ever.
Hasn't.
Ever?
Yet. Hasn't yet.
Ever. He's a loser. No. Bottom 10.
He's sinking, unfortunately. He is throwing a lot of bad picks, seems lost in the pocket. So I have him 14th. 14th. So ahead of him, a few ahead of him, Jalen Hurts, who I don't love, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. Behind him, Brock Purdy, Geno Smith.
So you'd already put Drake May ahead of Kyler Murray?
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah.
So that's why I would have him 10 to 15 in that range.
I have May, Prescott, Stroud, Mayfield, all those guys ahead of me.
Mayfield ahead of him.
Yep.
Well,
I'd rather have Mayfield.
You've
For
got
sure.
him lower than we do.
Mayfield's tougher.
Maybe. No, he is.
Mayfield's won playoff games.
Kyler Murray plays pickup football.
I know. I'm not into him either. But he doesn't suck. Next. That's such an embarrassing come down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Greg, does Belichick deserve another crack at the NFL?
I would say yes. I would like to see him back. I want him to. We need the fodder, and I would love to talk about it and love to compare what the Patriots are doing, what Bill's doing, and see what kind of band he gets back together. And I still think he's a really good coach. Obviously, he should still be coaching in the NFL.
I like the way you worded this question. Does he deserve another chance? Mm-hmm. Yes, but I wouldn't do it. Would you?
Depends who I was.
Yeah, I wouldn't do
If
it.
I was Jacksonville, I would do it.
I wouldn't do it.
I'm a no. Too old, too stubborn, big baby who only wants things his way, and a proven fraud without Brady. So no.
So I'm not sure he's still a good coach. So I'm not sure about that. But I think it's crazy that no one's willing to find out. That's what given the number of bad coaches that are out there and disaster zone teams that are out there, there isn't someone that would say, this guy is not that far removed from some really quality work, and we wouldn't give him a shot. So, if that means he deserves it, then I think I'm surprised there isn't a team out there that's willing to do it for him. Next,
This is the type of guy, if he's in a pile, he's squeezing your hog.
is going to UNC, Greg, an embarrassment to him and his legacy?
No, I just think that 50 years from now, when we talk about Bill Belichick, no one's going to remember UNC. They're gonna remember the Super Bowls and his greatness with the Patriots.
Yes, it's beneath him. He's better than that. He's an NFL coach. He shouldn't lower himself to go to college.
Bill Walsh went to college.
Bill Walsh went back to where he began.
4 years after 4 years of retirement. Different.
Yes, it's an embarrassment. We tried going through this yesterday with comparisons, and there aren't any. And they're really, the best I could come up with, an only decent analogy, is if you did this in the business world. If Steve Jobs was still alive, he leaves Apple to go work at Sears. It's beneath him. It doesn't make any sense.
It is an embarrassment. And 50 years, Greg, 50 years after the fact, you don't remember anything about anyone other than maybe one thing. So that's not
Right. We're talking about Bill. We're talking about Bill's legacy, not right now for the next couple of years. Yes, obviously it's embarrassing. Depending on how well he does at UNC, because now with the alignment, he could be in the 12-team playoff every year. And in a one-game situation, do I rule out Bill pulling off some upsets and getting to a national championship? And to do that for North Carolina, that would be great for his legacy. But his legacy, we're talking about the way people remember him 50 years from now.
Okay, Greg,
nobody's going to give a crap,
what
just
I'm
like
trying
Willie
to-
Mays.
What I'm trying to tell you is okay, but a lot of people who watch Willie Mays at the end remember that and are like, ay, ay, ay. But 50 years later, you only remember one single thing. Everything else washes away. It's too much time. That's not you. You understand what I mean, big fella, when you say that?
I guess, but I mean, I guess we have different definitions of legacy.
We do.
Okay.
Brandon Bostic was the Packer that dropped the onside kick.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.